Level 1. The key. The key still works. 24 years old, standing on your parents' porch with a cardboard box of kitchen things you never learned to cook with, and the brass key you've carried since 7th grade slides into the same lock and turns like nothing ever happened. Your mother has dinner going before the car is unloaded. Your father carries in the heavy boxes without asking a single question, which is his way of asking all of them. It happened the way it always happens, quietly, then all at once. Marketing degree, $31,000 in student loans, a junior role at a startup that paid $42,000 a year and called it an opportunity. 11 months in, the startup runs out of money. You pack a desk you decorated 3 weeks earlier. Your rent is $1,640 a month. Unemployment pays $1,710. That's not a budget. That's a countdown. So you do the responsible thing. You break the lease, eat the $850 penalty, and drive everything you couldn't sell back to the house you grew up in. 3 months, you tell your friends. 6, tops. Just until I land something. Your childhood bedroom hasn't changed. Glow-in-the-dark stars. A twin bed your feet hang off of now. Your mother kept it exactly the way you left it, and you can't decide whether that's love or a warning. First dinner home, pot roast, your father asking about the job search in the careful voice of a man diffusing something. I just like having you home, your mother says, and she means it with her whole heart. Nobody tells you that quicksand is warm. That night you do the math on an envelope, because the math is beautiful. No rent, no utilities. Groceries appear in the refrigerator like weather. Land even a mediocre job and you can bank $1,500 a month. In 3 years, 3 years of free rent, the biggest financial head start an ordinary person can be handed. You'd have a down payment, the loans cornered, a life with a locked door, and your name on the mail. You write the number at the bottom and underline it twice, $54,000. You put the envelope in the desk drawer. The rules of the house arrive without a meeting. The thermostat belongs to your father, and it lives at 67. Sunday dinner is not optional. The garage is his country. You enter with a reason or not at all. You follow all of them that first month like a guest. The plan is airtight. Free rent really can change a life. That part was never the lie. Here's what the envelope doesn't know yet. Zero rent looks identical on both roads. The one where it builds a fortune and the one where it hides a collapse. 3 months, you said. The envelope will still be in that drawer in 4 years. You just won't be able to see it under everything you're about to pile on top. Level 2. The soft landing. You tell people you're freelancing while you look. What that means is a delivery app. You drive strangers' pad thai across town in the car you leased. Back when you had a salary, $389 a month, 31 payments left, and the app says you made $214 on Saturday. The app is lying. Subtract gas, oil changes, and the self-employment tax nobody mentions until April, and Saturday paid you $11 an hour. Doesn't matter, you figure. Your expenses are basically zero. That sentence will do more damage than any purchase you ever make. Comfort has mechanics, and they engage one at a time. Laundry appears on your bed, folded. Dinner happens at 6 whether you contributed or not. Your mother learns your delivery schedule and starts leaving a plate covered in foil. And there is no lonelier luxury on earth than a warm plate you didn't earn. Month 1, you send 44 applications. Month 4, you send 6. It's not a decision. Nothing here ever is. The interviews sting. The rejections sting worse. The couch doesn't sting at all, and water flows downhill. The leaks are small enough to ignore, which is their entire design. $23 in delivery fees for food eaten above a kitchen with a full refrigerator twice a week. A $700 gaming PC on a card at 26.9%. Because you deserve something. 2 streets over, Danny is running the same play with the opposite hands. You've known him since 4th grade. Same street, same schools, same free rent. But Danny treats his childhood bedroom the way a pilot treats a runway. Temporary, aimed, nothing unpacked in his head. Municipal water plant, $26 an hour. Every weekend shift they'll give him. A paid-off Corolla with a missing hubcap he refuses to replace on principle. Danny saves $1,900 a month and has a spreadsheet with a number at the top, $60,000. That's the exit, he says. Beers in his parents' garage, dead serious. Down payment on a duplex. Tenant upstairs pays half my mortgage. Free rent is a superpower, man. But a superpower doesn't care which direction you fly. You laugh. You agree. Agreeing is free. When the pizza comes, you try to pay your half and the payment declines. Danny covers it and never mentions it again. And somehow that's worse than if he had. Your 25th birthday happens in the same kitchen as your 10th. Same candles, same lopsided cake. It's nice. That's the honest, terrible truth of it. Your 26th happens there too. Somewhere between the two, you stop counting the months. The applications become keeping an eye out. Your savings account holds $412 and has for a while. Free rent was handing you $1,500 a month with both hands. You were setting it down somewhere every day and you couldn't say where. Level 3. The slow years. The delivery app deactivates you on a Tuesday for low acceptance rates, and you tell your parents you quit. It's the first lie that costs nothing, which is how you know you've gotten good at them. You're 26, then 27. And the days develop a shape so smooth, there's nothing to grab onto. Asleep at 4 a.m., awake at 1 p.m. The kitchen at midnight, quiet as a burglar in the house you grew up in. You move to the basement that spring. You tell your mother it's for the space. The truth is 34 years of your father's same alarm at 5:40. The same three sounds, clock, kettle, door, and hearing them through the floor while you rolled over, had started to feel like a verdict. Down there, you can't hear the alarm. That's the whole reason. It costs you a window. You take one real swing that year, the wrong kind. A tax refund, plus birthday money, $3,100, goes into a brokerage account because a guy on a stream made turning $800 into $19,000 look like a recipe. For 11 days, you are a genius. The account touches $4,900. You screenshot it, you tell Danny, you tell your mother, who tells your aunt. 19 days later, the account holds $86. You tell no one. The screenshot stays in your phone for years. A monument to the wrong lesson learned first. That money is a slot machine, not a staircase. The student loans figure out where you live. You'd put them in forbearance, a word that sounds like mercy and works like a meter. $31,000 pauses, and while it's paused, it grows. The envelopes go into the desk drawer upstairs, unopened, piling onto an older envelope with a number underlined twice that you no longer remember writing. By the time you stop checking, the drawer knows something you don't. $38,400. You develop a wardrobe of answers for barbecues, consulting in between things, working on something with a friend. The friend does not exist. Neither does the something. Your father stops asking about the job search. He just stops. The way you stop winding a watch that doesn't run, and the silence where the question used to be is the loudest thing at the table. Your mother does the opposite. She builds you a legend. You hear her on the phone. He's figuring things out. They all take longer now, and something in your chest folds up small. She's spending her credibility on you, a little every week, and just like you, she never checks the balance. Then Danny hits his number, $61,000, 27 years old, a duplex with a tenant already upstairs. At the housewarming, your father spends 40 minutes with Danny at the water heater and comes away with a light in his face you haven't caused since high school. You do the math you can't stop doing. Same street, same schools, same starting line. Rent, zero. 4 years later, Danny has $61,000 and a building. You have $412, a drawer that hums, and a screenshot. The house was a runway for him, somewhere in there. Without ever deciding anything, you turned yours into a hangar. Level 4. The for sale sign. Your father takes the buyout in November. The plant is thinning out its 30-year men. $40,000 and a handshake. Take it or wait to be walked out with nothing. He's 61. His knees sound like gravel on the stairs. He takes it. The family meeting happens at the kitchen table. Papers in a manila folder. Your mother's tea going cold. House goes on the market in March. He says, "We've got a condo lined up near your aunt. 1 bedroom. He doesn't say the rest. The house was never just the house. It was the retirement plan. 31 years of payments. The only asset that grew while they slept. 2 pensions got frozen. A 401k got started too late. And the difference between your parents eating well at 80 or not is the equity sitting under your childhood bed. 1 bedroom. The arithmetic does the talking so nobody has to. You're 28. You have 90 days and $412. The panic makes you briefly impressive. 39 applications in 3 weeks. 4 interviews, and all 4 die on the same question. What have you been doing since 2023? There's no good answer, and in a conference room with a water stain on the ceiling tile, You finally understand. The gap is not a blank space on the page. The gap is the page. Moving out arrives like an invoice. First month, last month, deposit on the cheapest room in the city, $1,650. You sell the gaming PC in a parking lot for $260. It costs $700. The difference is called depreciation, and it's the only finance lesson you've mastered. The car lease ends. You buy a 2004 Accord with 213,000 miles for $1,700, which swallows the PC money and the last of the savings. On moving day, your mother hugs you in the emptied kitchen and presses folded bills into your hand. $300. For groceries, she says, and her voice does something on the second word. Taking it is the hardest transaction of your life. You take it. Then, couches. 3 weeks on Danny's until his girlfriend moves in. 2 weeks with a guy from high school. 9 days with a cousin. A guest has a half-life, and yours keeps shrinking because a man with a plan is company and a man without one is weather. By September, it's the Accord. What matters fits in a 5x10 storage unit across town. $79 a month. Unit 114, childhood boxes and winter coats. And you learn the small brutal economies of no address. The $3 rec center shower. The phone plan that lapses 6 days, so the one callback you'd waited on rings into a dead number. Being broke has a cover charge. Winter finds the flaw in the plan. Running the engine for heat costs $4 a night you don't have, and January comes in at 9 degrees. The laundromat on Delray stays open 24 hours. Fluorescent light, dryers breathing warm air. The owner is Mr. Kim, 71, cardigan, glasses on a chain. You do laundry for 4 hours at a time, then 5. One load, folded and refolded. He knows, of course he knows. He never says a word about it. On the coldest night of the year, he walks past your chair at 2 a.m., turns the thermostat up 2 degrees, and doesn't look at you. In 4 months, he says maybe 10 words to you, and every one of them is about the weather. You will remember all 10 for the rest of your life. In February, the Accord gets towed. The fee is $465, plus $40 a day. You have $131. You walk 4 miles to the impound to get your documents and a blanket. That night, you sleep sitting up in a plastic chair at Mr. Kim's. And this is the bottom. So mark it. 28 years old, and the final price of 4 rent-free years is everything. Level 5, the heavy end. Danny finds you on a Thursday at 6:50 in the morning. His washer died, and Mr. Kim's is on his way to the plant. He comes in with a duffel bag and stops like he's hit a wall, because his oldest friend is asleep upright in a plastic chair, and there is no version of that picture that needs explaining. You'd been dodging his calls for 2 months. Shame is efficient like that. It cuts you off from exactly the people who would help. He doesn't lecture. He says 4 words. Get in the truck. At a diner, over eggs he orders for you, Danny slides his phone across, a number already ringing. His cousin runs crews for a moving company. 7 a.m. Monday. Danny says, I told him you'd be there. Don't make me a liar. Then he drives you to the impound and pays the $505 like it's a parking meter. And when you start the speech, he holds up one hand. It's not a gift. $40 a week till it's paid. A beat. So you've got a reason to answer your phone. You will meet smarter men than Danny. You will never meet one who understands people better. Monday, 6:41 a.m. You're in the lot before the trucks are unlocked. The crew teaches you the rules once. Fast, sideways. The heavy end of the couch goes to the new guy every time, and you are the new guy. So you take the heavy end all day. $16 an hour plus tips. Your first day runs 9 hours, pays $128 plus a $35 tip split, and every muscle you own files a complaint. You sleep 10 hours in the Accord and wake at 5:30 feeling something you have to reach back years to name. There are 2 kinds of tired. You'd only ever known one. 3.5 weeks in, you rent a room. $560 a month, a house split 5 ways, a door with a lock. The first morning you wake at 5:30 out of habit and lie in the dark on an air mattress, quietly amazed, because nobody can knock on your window. At the dollar store, you buy a composition notebook for $2.99, and it becomes the most important financial product you'll ever own. Every dollar in, every dollar out, every Sunday night. Inside the front cover, 4 rules in pen. Danny gets his $40 first, $100 to savings the second the check lands. No food you didn't cook, $15 a week exception. If you can't explain it to the notebook, you can't buy it. Then you open a second account and do the thing that changes your trajectory more than any raise will. You name it back rent, and you set an automatic transfer, $500 a month, 4 years free, and you banked nothing. So now you pay it back every month to the man you were supposed to be. The bank thinks it's a savings account. You know a debt when you owe one. On a Sunday at Mr. Kim's, you still do laundry there. There's a closer one, you don't care. You finally open the shoebox of loan envelopes, $38,400 with your name on it. You call the servicer and get on an income-driven plan, $118 a month. The number doesn't shrink, but it stops growing in the dark, and that's most of the fight. 6 months in, the owner, Ray, 6'4", writes nothing down, forgets nothing, makes you a crew lead at $19 an hour. His entire promotion speech, you're the only one who counts the boxes twice, and you start noticing something in the houses of people who can afford full-service moves. Their garages look like everybody's garage. The difference is the office. Filing cabinets labeled in block capitals. Deeds, LLC. Rental, Elm Street. Rich people's junk is the same junk. Their paperwork isn't. Level 6. Other people's junk. It starts at the end of a move, when a client looks at her late father's garage and asks the 11 words that change your life. What would it cost for all of this to just disappear? Ray's company doesn't do junk. You do, as of that exact moment. You come back Saturday with a rented box truck, $29.95 plus mileage, and empty the garage. Dump fees, $47. Then the treadmill sells for $120 online. The patio set for $90. The scrap aluminum for $38. She paid you $200 to take it away. The stuff pays you again on the way out. You run the math twice because the first time feels illegal. $380 net in an afternoon. People will pay you to carry money out of their houses. $150 here, $300 there. Every weekend now. Word of mouth plus a listing with real before and after photos. 11 months of that, and the back rent account plus the junk money buys the real thing. A 2012 box truck at a landscaper's closing auction, $7,200 cash. The old company's name still ghosts up through the primer on hot days. You never repaint it. You quit Ray on a Friday. He shakes your hand and says, leave the uniform, take the back brace. That's Ray's entire graduation ceremony. Then the business teaches you, tuition due immediately. A helper found through a flyer drops his end of a dresser down a stairwell and gashes a client's wall. $900 out of pocket. That week you file the LLC for $125. Buy liability insurance at $94 a month and write your first one-page contract. Price in writing before the truck starts. Half up front over $500. The second hire is Marcus, off Ray's crew, moonlighting weekends until your weekends out-earn his paychecks. You put him on real payroll, taxes, pay stubs, because you remember what it's like to have no paper proof you exist, and a pay stub is a door key shaped like a document. Realtors discover you. Estate cleanouts, hoarder houses, foreclosures, empty by Friday. $1,200 to $2,500 a job, plus everything sellable inside. Your first full year on your own, $91,000 in revenue, about $54,000 kept. You pay yourself $3,200 a month, live on $1,700, and the notebook routes the rest to back rent without asking your opinion. And twice a week, the work funnels you to the same kind of place, a storage facility. Everything that isn't wanted and isn't trash ends up behind a roll-up door, and you're the man carrying it there. You start bidding on abandoned units at auction. $240 wins one that holds $900 in tools. Another holds the whole life of a family, photo albums, a boxed wedding dress. You sell none of it. You leave the albums with the manager and your number in case anyone comes back. Nobody calls. You keep doing it anyway. At one auction, 40 bidders fight over boxes, while one man leans in the office doorway watching, the owner. On the drive home, you count doors. 200 units at $110 a month times 12. $264,000 a year. One part-time manager. No tenants, no toilets, no midnight calls about heat. The boxes don't complain. 2 years getting paid to empty this city's garages, and it never occurred to you to own the building where it all lands. That night, at the kitchen table of the $850 one-bedroom, you start studying like a man with a bar exam nobody scheduled. Cap rates, seller financing. The notebook gets a second section. Level 7. 120 doors. Gene has run Hilltop Storage for 31 years, and Gene is done. 74, a bad hip, a gravel lot, a ledger kept in pencil, 120 doors, 58% rented, the rest holding dust and one wasp nest the size of a regret. The price is $415,000, and no bank is excited about either of you. So you sit in Gene's office, space heater rattling, and offer a structure the old man understands. Seller financing, $60,000 down, 3 years of back rent and junk money, nearly all of it. And Gene carries the note at 6.5% over 20 years. The facility mails him a retirement check every month. If you fail, he takes it back and sells it twice. Gene studies you. You're the fella who buys the abandoned units. Yes, sir. You always sweep them out after. He signs. You find out later that was the entire reason. 31 years of watching bidders leave his floors covered in broken glass, and the deal goes to the one man who swept. The turnaround isn't clever, and that's the secret. It's just attention. Your crew clears 27 delinquent units in 2 weekends. New gate, cameras, lights, $11,000. You list every unit online, plant a real sign on the road, and answer the phone on the second ring, Sundays included. 14 months later, 91% occupancy, rates from $85 to $105, $10 at a time. And you write every notice letter yourself and read it twice, because you know which kind of person opens that letter in a bad month. The facility that made Gene $70,000 a year makes $118,000 the next one. An appraiser walks the gravel and hands you a number that outweighs everything you've ever earned with your spine, $1.1 million. You bought a neglected thing and paid attention to it. That's the whole trick. It scales. Number 2 is 90 doors from a widow who wants one dignified transaction. And this time, the bank that once refused you a $2,000 credit limit sends a relationship manager who pronounces your name carefully. Nothing about you changed but the collateral. Then the business finds you wearing your own old face. Unit 87, 4 months behind. The man is 29, lost a job, moved back in with his mother, just needs a few weeks. You give him 60 days off the books anyway, and he vanishes the way you used to vanish, and the law runs its course. The auction takes 4 minutes. His unit sells for $210, and inside it are a gaming PC and a shoebox of unopened mail, and you feel the gavel land somewhere under your ribs, so you start a policy that never goes on the website. Any tenant who falls behind can work it off on the cleanout crew. Cash the same day, no questions. Most never call. You keep it for the ones who do. Your parents still think you haul junk, and your father says it the way other fathers say attorney. At the condo, he introduces you to a neighbor. My son. He's got trucks, plural. The way he leans on that S is the entire Nobel Prize. But his hardware store shifts keep climbing. 66, still working, because 2 frozen pensions and Social Security leave a gap. And you finally solve it the way Gene taught you. Some men cannot be given anything. Any man can be hired. Roll-up doors break constantly. You offer your father $30 an hour. Pick his own days. Fix whatever he wants fixed. He glares at the spring on door 44 like it insulted him personally, has it running in 40 minutes, and works for you for the next 9 years. Your father works for you now. Neither of you will ever use those words. At Christmas, you park a 3-year-old F-150 outside the condo. He checks the oil before he says anything. Too much truck, he says. He drives it every day for the rest of his life. Level 8, the knock. 14 years after the key. You own 1,100 doors, 7 facilities. The cleanout company, which Marcus runs better than you ever did. One tired strip mall you bought mostly for a single tenant. On paper, the portfolio runs about $8 million, and the slice that's actually yours after every note crossed $5 million last spring. You learn it from an accountant spreadsheet at 6 a.m., feel nothing, then everything, then drive to Facility 3, because door 61 has a broken spring. A national operator flies a man out to buy you whole. $9.2 million, clean exit, and you never think about a roll-up door again. You listen politely and say the numbers don't work. The truth is none of his business. You know exactly how it feels when everything you own sits behind a door that belongs to a man who doesn't care. 1,100 families worth of that feeling is not for sale to a spreadsheet in another state. You keep the doors. The habits run the house now, pointed the other way. You wake at 5:40 with no alarm. Your father's hour. It came up through the floor after all. It just took 30 years to arrive. The composition notebooks number 11 in a fireproof box every Sunday night since the room with 5 roommates. The back rent transfer still fires on the first of every month, $500, into an account that stopped needing it a decade ago. You never turn it off. It isn't money anymore. It's a pulse. At the East Side facility, the third one you bought, Unit 114, sits in the back row with your own padlock on it. Childhood boxes, a folded blanket. You own the building, and you still pay that unit $79 every month from an old checking account. Nobody who works for you knows why. Some doors you buy so that no one can ever open them but you. 2 years ago, the strip mall on Delray went up for sale, listed as a value-add opportunity, which is broker for raise every rent until the old tenants leave. A 24-hour laundromat anchors the corner. Its owner is 81 now. You buy the building through an LLC that owns an LLC. Your one instruction to the property manager: the laundromat's lease renews 10 years, flat, and the owner's name never comes up. Mr. Kim once kept a stranger alive through a winter with a thermostat and 10 words about the weather. He will die never knowing whose name is on his building. That's not the sad part. That's the design. Danny owns 6 duplexes now and drives a newer Corolla, still missing a hubcap on principle. Friday Beers moved from his parents' garage to his own, which looks identical. You wrote him a check once. The couch weeks, the impound, the eggs, interest compounded to the dollar because you're you. He cashed it without a word, and that afternoon a payment came back. One small amount, labeled pizza. Neither of you has mentioned it since. Sunday dinner is at the condo. Pot roast, smaller kitchen, the same table. They kept the table. Your mother gave you a key the week they moved in case, she said. It's been on your ring 13 years. You've never once used it. Every Sunday you knock, and every Sunday she opens the door like a surprise, while your father, 75 now, starts in about the truck's oil, because a key is for a man who lives there. The whole point, the notebook, the doors, the 14 years, was to become a man who knocks. Saturdays, you still take a counter shift at Facility 1. Near closing, a young man comes in, 24 maybe, hatchback packed to the roof, a buddy's pickup idling outside. He rents a 5x10. His first card declines. He laughs a laugh you remember from the inside of it. The second card goes through. Moving back in with my folks for a bit, he says, signing, just till I'm back on my feet. 3 months tops. You run his gate fob and comp the first month on a move-in special that has never existed. He thinks the free rent is the rescue. He doesn't know it's the test. Warm dinner, folded laundry, a door that's never locked. The same quiet test that fails more men than winter does. He doesn't know what's coming. You do. Both directions of it. Somewhere across town tonight, his mother is putting fresh sheets on a twin bed, telling herself it's only for a little while, meaning it with her whole heart. And nobody in that house will hear a thing, because quicksand doesn't make a sound. It's warm. That was always the trick of it. 3 months, he says again at the door, keys in hand, as if saying it twice notarizes it. You nod. You said it too once, standing on a porch with a box of kitchen things, while a brass key turned like nothing ever happened. The key still works. It always does. That was never the part you had to worry about.